guys thought LolCowlive was bad? Wait until you get a look at LolCow Queens.
Oop, she was in on it, you fucking idiot.
I tried to talk to Grace's mom today, and she said that she was too scared to come on the podcast today.
The reason why we're playing these clips is because there is no way I'm allowing my name to be attached to a degenerate like this, to a predator.
Becky, you realize you're on a show that's famous for somebody faking cancer for money, right? You realize that's why you're here?
Yeah, not worse than your dad you every night. You cross a line.
The only person here whose dad has confirmed them is Boogie. So again, you're wrong. You know, Becky, what you don't realize is I got here because of the supposed DV. You fucking idiot. You should have done your research a little bit better.
You got here from
You should have done your research. You should have done your research a little bit better. You're late to the game.
Just like you begged for your daddy's.
Let's talk about.
Change my mind. Nobody wants to
do. Okay, I don't want to hear your bullshit. I bring plenty. I actually.
They're saggy. They're saggy old fat lady. They're saggy old fat lady.
Bring your to the water company and pay my bill, bitch.
How do you create a show that could create more hype than Boogie literally faking cancer? Why not throw in some incest claims? I'm pretty sure that Keemstar is trying to create a Jerry Springer universe on the internet. And make sure you stick around to the end of the show because I got a chance to sit down with one of the queens you see here about all the drama going on outside of the show. With that said, let's get into it. Now, the interesting thing about this particular episode was that it was set up to fire one of these particular girls.
Let me explain what's going on. So obviously me and Kid Behind the Camera are launching this new show. It's LolCow Queens on YouTube. I recommend everybody go sub to it right now if you haven't. It's already well over 6,000 subs. We started off with a cast of 3, which would be Linx, Becky, and Tina. And Grace came in, made her pitch. We added Grace, and we've got concerns from all of you. All of you females have contacted me and Mike and said, I want someone gone. I want to fire someone. I want this. I want that. So I figured, you know, look, it's a real complaint. There's too many pieces of the pie going all over. The show probably should have 3 hosts. So why don't you come each of you make your case on why you think a certain person should be fired? And tonight we'll take one off the roster.
So you heard Keemstar. Apparently there's supposed to be an elimination here where the 4 members are gonna get together and vote off one, kind of like Survivor, those old school reality shows that you used to watch back in the 2000s. And it probably wouldn't surprise you if I told you that this exchange got incredibly heated. Hide your kids, hide your wife. The bitches are getting hardcore tonight. They'll do anything to win, but they don't understand the trouble they're in. But for this to make sense to you, I have to break down who these people actually are. So you have Tina, who is the older woman in the top corner, who's missing a leg. You have Becky Boop, who was famous for trying to ruin Review Tech USA's marriage, I guess, sorta. Unconfirmed. Then you have Grace Thorpe. Let's just say Grace Thorpe's going to become the center of attention for this whole entire battle. Now, before we get into what happened between Grace Thorpe and Keemstar, I want to give you guys a quick background of why Grace is such a polarizing figure on the internet, mainly revolving around her dad, Ben, who seems to have a romantic relationship with Grace. This has never been actually confirmed, but if you were somebody who, let's say, looks at things realistically and you go back to their history on their Thorpe TV channel, you will see several times where Grace finds herself in an RV parked in some strange area with her dad, shacked up, even violating court-ordered no contact orders. This obviously leads to the speculation of why does Grace want to be around her dad so badly? It's almost like she's in love with him. Now, as a father myself, this is disgusting and I don't really know what else to say about it, but just look at all the times that Grace seems to get herself in trouble around her father.
Okay. Based on whatever you guys had going on in your live stream today, somebody reported it and it was like kicking you. Right, so in Rhode Island that's considered domestic assault, domestic violence, simple assault. Alright, I understand you have your YouTube podcast and everything like that, whatever you guys do, but essentially...
But it was a joke, and I don't have any problem with what happened!
You look like you're gonna cry, and then you hold back because you're so afraid of your daddy doing something to you, right?
No, that's literally not why!
All bullshit, all the time.
That's literally not why.
Okay, so what's gonna happen is he's gonna go to the station, he's gonna be processed, he's gonna be booked and everything like that.
Gonna play into her bullshit, and they're gonna say that Ben is like some abuse victim, or sorry, that Grace is some abuse victim and she's being abused by Ben.
Well, hold on. I just want to put this out there. There is some abusive stuff going on. First of all, there's like a trifecta of abuse. But what the fuck are you doing?
I renounce female rage. I'm sorry. I don't like being a woman who's angry. I love men, and I'm sorry if that offends women. I f***ed up in my own ways, but I love men, and I hate female rage. I hate what it's done to me. I hate the devil. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Get out of me. I hate it. I don't think women are bad, but Jesus Christ, I've had enough of being a woman and being just lied to because I am one. I suck. I'm evil. I have a lot of evil. I have a lot of bad habits. And I appreciate the men that have tried to help me, including my father. And if anybody tries to take that away from me, I just think it's bullshit.
In this particular instance, Grace and her dad are caught up with by the police again, where they're breaking the no contact order, and you can hear they're a little out of breath.
Yes. Somebody called and said that you guys aren't supposed to be together or something like that. Does that make any sense to you guys? You're breathing hard. Is that because of your walk?
We're a little out of shape.
Some tells me they were running not because they were going for a nice jog, but they were running because they were running from the cops. This is the type of ridiculous shit that these people are doing to hide whatever the is going on between them. This is why I think they are having a romantic affair. Who in their right mind wants to hang out with their parents so much that they would literally run from the cops to do so? Obviously, this leads to Ben getting arrested yet again.
All right, what's your first name now? Okay, Ben, just hop in the back there for a minute. I won't put any cuss on you.
This one happens to be my favorite. This is where Grace happens to be live streaming at, surprise, surprise, Ben's RV, and people get the inkling that Ben must be around somewhere, so they send the police after them, which leads to this interesting moment caught all on Grace's live stream.
Come out now!
Can't open it.
Benjamin, get out! Come on, Benjamin.
Oh,
there
right
he is.
there. Oh.
You have to open the bathroom door in order for him to get out. You have to open the bathroom door.
Thanks for lying, but we got him.
Now that you guys are all more familiar with Grace's antics, I think you'll understand where Becky was coming from and why Ben is such a problem. So Becky Boop starts this off by going directly after Grace Thorpe with an entire docket of accusations surrounding Grace's family. Pretty freaking hectic.
Grace's brother, John. Okay, here we go.
Okay, now that she's gone, I wanted to tell you guys that as her brother, I know that everybody's always questioning whether the allegations are true, even though it's pretty clear to most people who aren't idiots what the reality of the situation is. But my father has sexually groomed my sister, and they have sex all the time. She gives him blowjobs all the time, and they're currently together, even though there's a no contact order in place.
No, you did not hear that wrong. That is Grace Thorpe's brother making the accusation that Grace Thorpe and her biological father get it on. He also claims that Grace Thorpe gives him the hawk tuah. So we've moved past faking cancer and we're directly into incest now. Only Keemstar, folks. But I'm sure Grace has a great explanation for this. She better.
Brother, wait, let me defend myself from that. My brother said that after 2 years of not seeing me or my father in person. It's straight up lies. He has no idea what we do except for what we post on YouTube. Just like the rest of my haters, okay? My brother's a gay idiot. I don't care. I don't care.
It started when you were 15.
He literally paints his nails and wears earrings, dude. He's off his rocker.
Okay, you don't gotta be.
Drugs.
You don't be like
he
that.
He does drugs.
I love that Linx is like, no, we could talk about incest all day, but I draw the line in homophobia. Don't you dare make fun of someone for wearing earrings and painting their nails.
He hadn't seen me for 2 years when he said that. It's straight up lies.
Grace, You're defending yourself. I didn't even get to explain the clip.
Because nobody cares. It's my clip. It was on my stream. It was clipped from my fucking stream when he had
You
his
getting
name
mad
on.
right now speaks a lot. It speaks a lot.
I'm
You
the
better
one who's being
chill the
entertained right now.
Look, Grace, regardless of whether or not you're entertaining, if you have incest going on in your family, I don't care if you are the next Charlie Chaplin. That's just not going to fly with the internet.
Chill
There's something very
out.
important I need to say. Extremely important. So shut the f up, you piece of shit. This has been in court. This is not a skit. There have been actual restraining orders. There have been testimonies. So bull f***ing shit that this is a skit. You
All
and your
of that
father-
got dropped. All of that got dropped. All of that got dropped. I never called the cops. I never called the cops. It was my chat. It was my haters.
I love that she's like, all that got dropped, all that got dropped. I mean, if she is being groomed, chances are that she probably is consenting to these engagements with her dad. If it's happening again, I have no proof of this, but these are just from the allegations surrounding this case. But it doesn't seem like Grace is making a really convincing argument. But then again, Becky Boop kind of is just coming off obnoxious and almost like she's blaming Grace for her grooming, which also makes her look incredibly terrible. And that's all shadowed by the fact that you're literally on a show with Keemstar, who is looking for the most degenerate people to put on his show. You are literally advertising for Grace to get this role.
No, bitch, I'm my own person. Don't bring up what my daddy said. I'm my own person. Bring up what
fair.
I said.
Oh, we're gonna get
bring up
into
what
you
I
more,
said.
but
I'm not.
to be
My dad's not
fair.
here on the show. You want to go talk to him? Go hit him up. Otherwise, it has nothing to do with me.
Actually, Grace, it has everything to do with you. You see, most people don't want to platform someone who may be supporting the idea of a romantic relationship with their own father. Yeah, wow. That's even weird for LolCow.
I want to platform a predator, but we're gonna hear this.
I'm not a predator.
You are actually, because you're part of what's funneling.
Ain't nobody a predator associated with me.
Yeah, there's an issue because you promote the incest, and for any get-togethers that happen, you are the face that attracts the people, so they get funneled to him.
Karen
Grace.
Boop. Karen
Grace.
Boop.
I find it funny how you say that your brother is like, first of all, you're being crazy. Second of all, you say all this crazy shit about your brother, but he said the same exact story for years and years and years on end.
Yes, he's a certified hater. He is a certified hater.
Certified hater, okay. But you're sitting
You know why
there
he said all this
and you're
shit?
calling
You
him
know why he
gay.
said all this
You're
shit?
sitting
You know
there
why-
and you're
you know
calling
why
him
he said
gay
all
and
this
you're
shit?
degrading him when he's not even gay. Like that says way more about your character
Well,
right now.
Okay, so
I know him. He's my brother. I know him.
Now, I want to talk about this for a second because Grace doesn't realize this, but she just completely contradicted her own words. Her defense for why her brother couldn't be believed is because her brother doesn't know her. She continues to say that her brother doesn't know her, he hasn't seen her in 2 years, yet she turns around and then tells Linx, after being reprimanded for calling him gay, that she knows her brother. It's her brother. She would know. So couldn't we actually say that she knows her brother so well that we could say her brother knows her just as well? Something to think about. She's in love with her own father. I hope it won't be a bother. She'd love to kill her brother. God forbid he's fucking her mother. So this back and forth goes on for quite a while. We're not going to watch the whole thing because I'm trying to just give you a short summary of what all happened. At some point, Becky Boop had so much evidence that Keemstar was like, no, I don't feel like looking at anymore. It was almost like he was already sold on Grace being on the show and was like, she's degenerate enough. This is perfect. What can we possibly want more? I really feel like Becky sold Grace to Keemstar.
Becky, if you want me kicked from LolCow Queens for being a LolCow, you're a dumb ass bitch. That's my response.
Eventually, we get to the elimination. And I gotta tell you, it's full of plot twists, especially from Tina.
All right, well, ladies, the time has come. We have to make a decision. So how we're going to do this is each one of you is going to vote for one person to get kicked off the team. Just you ladies. Me and Mike are going to stay out of it, all right? Whoever gets the most votes is gone. Linx, who do you vote for?
Grace.
1 vote, Grace. Becky, who do you vote for?
Grace.
2 votes, Grace. Tina, who do you vote for?
Now that I think about it, you know what? I think Grace might be right. She brings more to the table than that fucking bitch over there look like she been beaten in the face with a bag of dicks. No personality. All she has is tits. I vote Becky.
Oh, snap. Now, this would be quite the plot twist if not for the fact that none of this matters.
Let's go, Tina! Let's
Grace!
Let's fucking go!
Grace, who do you vote for?
I vote that bitch Becky!
Oh
What do we
my
do?
God. Oh my
What do we do in this
Can
scenario?
I survive this?
Dysfunction pays on YouTube. Let's face it. Nobody's more dysfunction than Grace.
Let's go, Tina, my bitch! Let's go!
Oh my God, I did not see that
Fine
one
with
coming.
me. That's fine with me. I don't want to be on a show that would have her on it or work for
Bye.
somebody who would have her on it.
Bye.
That's all.
All right, guys, we are gonna take it to chat poll.
So out of nowhere, Tina switches her vote from Grace to Becky. So it goes to a chat poll. And now, let's be honest, who do you think the neckbeards are going to vote for? They're going to vote for Grace, obviously, to stay. Plus, it's LolCowlive. These people want to see a train wreck. And while Becky is emotional and cries a lot, she's not exactly the train wreck that Grace is, or the eye candy that Grace is either. And you got to take that in consideration when you think about guys trapped in their basement. Who would they rather look at? No offense, Becky, but Grace is a beautiful young lady. I mean, let's be real. Finally, the chat votes come in.
You're losing the poll. You're losing the poll. You're losing the
Okay,
poll.
hold on a minute, Grace. Becky, you bring nothing to the table. You have no personality. All you have is and once they're sagging udders, what do you bring to the table? You're not entertaining. You're just like a fucking knick-knack that sticks on the fucking wall. You're old as shit. Your clothes are old as shit. And you look like you've been beaten in the face with a bag of dicks. You want me to say it properly? You suck, donkey.
Well, to start with, I already
Don't
have
talk
a leg
about
up
me. My channel's established, bitch. I bring my own people with me. Shut the up, bitch.
If all you can do is scream, you bring nothing.
Call me crazy, but I think that Becky's actually right here. Tina, while funny as hell, really all she does do is scream. And if she's not screaming, she's not as entertaining in my personal opinion. But don't get mad at me. That's just how I see it.
I already bring more than you, Tina. I have a leg up on you. I got 2 legs.
How much money did you make? Show your vagina, bitch. Show your vagina.
Are you done shouting?
Worky looking motherfucker. And leave Boogie out of your mouth, bitch.
I didn't say Boogie. I used my leg, not my mouth. That's
Boogie does the same thing. He uses his legs too.
Guys, I think the time limit is up on the vote. Unfortunately, Becky, the tribe, has voted you off the island.
Bye, bitch.
I am okay with that.
Any final words?
I tried to save you guys. If she brings you down, it's on you.
They're multi-millionaires.
These victims. Tina, shut up. I'm talking about actual abuse and actual crimes. Nobody cares about your shitty one-liners right now.
Nobody cares about my channel either, right, bitch?
Shut up. This is
no, cut it out. You will respect my boss.
Tina.
Bye, bitch.
The only victim of abuse here, Becky, the only victim of abuse here is the woman whose marriage you wrecked. That's the only victim of abuse here. The woman whose marriage you wrecked. That's right, Tina. She's jealous.
She's jealous of you.
If I can't talk, I'll just go.
Bye.
You should, honestly.
Fine.
Leave the call.
Now, I get it. Honestly, the stuff that's going on with Grace is nothing to laugh about. There's lots of people out there who deal with this stuff, and it's incredibly serious. However, Becky, if you weren't so goddamn insufferable, you may have actually had a point here. So if this was a normal TV show and Becky was eliminated, Becky would be eliminated, right? And then the show would go on to just be Linx, Grace, and Tina. But that's not what happens because it's Keemstar. And if there's one thing we know about him is that none of this shit means anything because the very next night he brings back Becky.
You know, Becky, it's funny you said that because it's real funny because Linx is still in the Discord. She didn't leave the Discord after getting fired.
He literally gives Linx wiggle room to come back in front of everybody by being like, oh, well, she's just going to work me over. No, she's not. You were never planning to fire her in the first place.
Because I look at Linx and I see all her moves and everything that she's done and I'm like, I would have done the same thing. That's why I'm a sucker. It's because that's the fucking female Keemstar. Good luck.
Yeah, one recognizes another.
You should practice what you preach, bitch.
See, Tina, the problem is I love when you're angry at me, so I don't really want to fix anything.
Just keep appearing. I mean, it's enough for me. I can just keep screaming and yelling at you for the rest of my life. Yeah, that'll make me millions.
I'm here for it. And for what it's worth, that's why I'm also here for any punishments to come back. I'm willing to do whatever.
Oh,
Guys,
God,
we have-
Keem, don't
Here
do
we go.
Don't
What
do it,
the
Keem.
There is no set plan. It's what's going to be interesting tonight to do. In fact, Becky let it slip during a stream that she was told to bury Grace and claims that she was set up. And Keemstar plays dumb and acts like he has no idea what she's talking about, and the way she's spinning this is gross. When in reality, I think Becky is 100% right. I think these girls were set up.
I told every one of these women on Queens that one of them would have to go, and they should be prepared to make their argument for who they're voting off. That's what they were all told. And this is what she says. This is how she spins that conversation.
To say, I think, Grace, we also might have been a little set up. I know, because you're saying, and I caught this that other day, you, as soon as I started talking about you, you said, why are you doing this? This is your time to prove yourself. That's not what I was told to do. I was told it was my time to bury you.
Well, that's not what I was told. What I was told that it was my time to bury you. Do you understand, Becky, why people are starting to find you insufferable?
Or bury whoever I chose.
Yes, yes, see? Exactly what I said.
It's all smoke and mirrors, guys. And while, yes, I understand that it's entertainment, like, this is why people always say that this show is fake. So this next clip here is from the After Show, which is a show that airs after LolCowlive, a whole show dedicated to airing after LolCowlive. I've seen everything, but it's actually kind of a smart business plan, if you ask me. But in this particular stream, Keemstar goes head-to-head with Grace about all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes, including her father, the weird abuse, why he fired her, why he fired Linx, why he fires anybody, to be honest with you. But it's pretty interesting, and Grace doesn't hold back letting Keemstar know how he feels, but I also feel like Keemstar made a very valid point here.
Fire yourself from the show because you had clips of him playing and you've talked about him non-stop since you hired me. So fire yourself. I never brought him up once.
Look, I understand all your arguments. I understand why you're upset. I totally get it. But this is also like Mission Impossible. Like, dude, we've already got a huge amount of backlash because of your dad, not just with our own fan base, but like on other platforms, like outside of our fan base. So we had to nip that in the bud.
Live! It's about backlash, you retard. Boogie faked cancer.
I know, but this is different. This is the type of thing that like puts us. I'm going to explain it to you. This is the type of thing that would put a ceiling on the show and stop its growth.
By Grace's very logic here, she's like, if Boogie faked cancer, then I should be allowed to joke about banging my dad.
These are one of these things that we're not touching.
That's only true because you keep bringing it up. If you really hate all the backstory that much, don't fucking bring it up every single show.
But Grace, it's impossible not to bring it up because it is part of your identity and you were on the show. So it's not just me. It's literally everyone wants to talk about it.
I think what Keemstar is actually trying to say is, I disavow, Grace. I need to make sure I disavow.
And they want to talk about it.
Wait, hold on. So your complaint is that I'm causing a lot of chaos and drama on a show about LolCows?
I understand how it may seem unfair, but if this was any other scandal or any other thing, right, it would be fine. But this is too taboo.
Bitch, we already pressed our luck with Tipples the Clown and the whole Boogie parents thing. All right, we ain't touching incest.
We can't do anything with this. This cannot be a part of the show.
What's the taboo? Nothing taboo has ever happened. I've denied
Well,
all the allegations.
okay.
Come out now! Can't open it.
Well, that's good. That's good. But also, you guys play around with it too much. You troll too much with it. That will put a ceiling on the growth of the show. And this is like one of those things. Like, you don't understand.
Seriously, you want to talk about scandal? Okay, you know there's a rumor that Tina's dad was like touching kids that she was babysitting in her fucking trailer park, okay?
Don't talk about me! My channel's established, bitch!
You want to talk about scandal? That's something that was actually reported to the police. There's no fucking scandal with me.
Somebody called and said that you guys aren't supposed to be together or something like that. Does that make any sense to you guys?
It's just shit you talk about because you're obsessed with my dad's. Get off of it. Get a life. Get a life.
Like, who are you? You can't even lie to your own fans. Your own fans aren't going to believe that. They're not going to think that Keemstar is the one that made the rumor with you and your dad. That shit existed long before I even met you. What are you talking about?
I'm not saying you made the rumor, dude, but it's been old news. That's an old allegation. All that stuff is bullshit, but it's fine if it's drama for the show. But this is where I don't understand. This is why you are impossible to work with.
I would really focus on Grace right now. This would be a time to really focus on Grace and what Grace is doing, as opposed to it's everyone else's fault, because you legitimately did up. We've had multiple conversations over this, and you f***ed up. It's on you.
If you want to play your power trip games with mentally ill women, Tina's all up in there and Boogie's all up in there and they're and you got your own little collection of go ahead. I am not here to do that. I'm here to be entertaining. You've cucked me in every single way. You hired Grace Thorpe, the girl who streams with her dad, for your show about girls. You say you can't stream with your dad on your own channel. You can't bring any of your fans into it. You can't have any creative control. Then fine. If you don't want me, you want somebody else that you can control.
No, I want you because you have an insane amount of talent. You would literally blow up and be a massive star, but I do need to be able to control my talent to make sure I build the company in the right way because I have 15 years of knowledge in this industry. And this was never about Keemstar controlling every aspect of your life. I only gave you one rule. You know what I think's gonna happen is that I'm pretty much sure that we can't work together, right? I mean, I think
I'm
that's
sure we can't work together if this is the way you're gonna treat me. We're not even working together, dude. I don't work for you.
well, we didn't
You were
launch the
gonna
show
be
yet.
hired. You fired me because my dad walked behind me to pick up a glass of water. You're irrational.
Yes. There's a wall, right?
You can have whatever opinion you want. I'm just saying the only person who has ever
okay.
brought up my dad is other people on this show.
Okay,
not me.
Grace, he just
Other
walked
people.
in the background. You gotta go. Like, what is this? It was so simple. It was so simple. Keep him away from the show. And he's just walking in the background. It was so simple.
Oh my God, he was in the background?
He just walked in the background. Okay, so we're launching the show with Tina. Tina! We're launching the show with Tina, I guess. Like, what the f is this? I literally said, I couldn't be more clear, Grace. Keep him away from the show. Off the show. I'm talking to you and he just starts cackling in the background behind you. You're done. You're done. Game over. You're done. What is wrong with these retards? Becky, get out of here. No one said come in. For me, my job is to find hot girl who's entertaining. Easy. Like, that's the easiest task ever. I will have a new hot girl.
So much has taken place on the show since the finishing of this video. This is an add-on to the video, or else the video would have finished there. But I got a chance to sit down and interview Linx, who is no longer a host for LolCowQueens. And she had a lot of interesting things to say about Keemstar, so if you want to stick around, you'll get a chance to watch me sit down and talk with Linx. Edit it down a little bit because we both were tired. We had just woken up, so I edited it down and get the most important parts in there. The interview was actually more like about an hour long. But let me know down in the comments, who do you guys think is going to be the host of LolCowQueens? We know for sure that Tina's going to be on the show. Becky seems to be a toss-up. Linx is out. Grace is out. Put down in the comments who you guys want to see on the show, and I'm hoping to get Keemstar at some point. And without further ado, here's my interview with Linx. Hope you guys enjoy.
So I started watching on the cancer arc, and one day I just saw that there was a Discord. I joined it and I started being active. And then I just joined the member waiting room one day when they had a show, and they pulled me up and they asked me, it was a Keemstar members only show, and he asked me if I had any topics that would be interesting to talk about. So I brought up Amberlyn Reed and Alphaba, which are two creators that I follow, kind of in, like, I guess you could say a lolcow sense.
Yeah, I know
And he
Alphaba.
liked my suggestions, yeah.
That ended up getting you a job?
No, I think what ended up getting me a job is after that I started being very active in the Discord, and there was a lot of like drama moments that would happen, or like gay ops, and like just like a lot of miscommunications that were blown out of proportion. And then the whole issue with Boogie quote unquote doxing me. I think what made him decide to pick me was because I've been active for a few months now, and I've been in the community a lot, and I've been in a lot of videos already.
Above average looking. I'm sure that helped your case too.
I mean, I definitely don't look like the normal person that you would expect to see on YouTube, because I'm more like alternative, kind of dark and
Tina switches up on Becky, and instead of deciding to fire Grace, she decides to fire Becky, which creates a cool moment for the show. So now it's split, and then it goes to the audience, who obviously is going to vote Becky instead of Grace, because Grace just seems to fit in with this narrative of, you know, debauchery. And
right.
Cool moment, you know, and then out of nowhere, Keem acts like it never happened.
I mean, I get it. I think a lot of what it is that people don't realize is there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. So for example, yes, Becky got fired, but then there was a bunch of issues behind the scene. And also she's getting so much hate that brings in a different crowd, and it could bring in more views and more money and stuff. And honestly, like once she lost her job, it was entertaining to see her basically do anything she could to get it back because she was being so petty and by definition a lolcow.
I saw the video she did with Grace where she was saying she felt like she was set up because she was told to go after Grace or something. The more I realize this, I've worked out kind of a theory in my head, and that's that, one, it's not exactly planned. I feel like Keemstar kind of just wings it as he goes. That gives him the excuse to say it's not planned or scripted because Keemstar doesn't have the time to probably script out an entire episode. So anybody who thinks it's scripted, I would probably say is crazy. But what Keemstar does do is he'll come up with an idea of what he could do to try to mess with y'all, not tell y'all so that you don't have any clue what's about to happen, and then he'll spring it on you. That's it, I'm firing one of y'all, you know, that's it. Fight for your job. You guys don't have like a script or anything, but you guys have no clue, but Keemstar knows that he's probably not going to end up firing anybody.
So one, the whole time I've been on the show, I've never been handed a script or had anything scripted. I will say that personally, there's like moments where I'll kind of amp it up to really get into it and to really just allow what I'm feeling to flow. In terms of what the situation with Becky is she's the one who wanted someone fired because she couldn't deal with like the pay split. So Keemstar told us like, all right, well, we'll get rid of someone, make your case. So there was no setup. Her case was that she wanted Grace gone. I wanted Grace gone because of Ben. So she completely misrepresented that. I mean, even if it was true, like I would just be honest about it. There's no point lying in that, right? That would make it more content if like he played both sides, but no, he didn't. I don't know how aware Grace was that she had to make a case because it was more so Becky's issue with having 4 people. I think what Keem does is there's a moment that'll happen and he'll go, this is perfect, I want this on the show, and then he'll let it happen. He'll bring it to the audience and then watch it unfold. I understand why people think, oh, like this is scripted and stuff like that, but like it's just wild. Like the things that happen are insane.
I think that what people think is that I'm bringing in the cast before we go live, and I'm going to tell them what's going to happen on stream.
I've never had a meeting or like a call before we've went live. Like there's never been that. It's just been boom, we're live. Like there's never been any sort of meeting before lives. I don't know if that gives a better insight, but
I think it's because the fact that Keem doesn't know exactly what he's gonna do each night. He'll have Becky fired, and then the next night he brings her back and acts like it never even happened, which kind of sucks for everybody who may have missed a stream in between. Like say the last video you watch is the stream where Becky gets fired, and you watch Tina, and then you're like, oh man, you know, I got work tomorrow night, so I'm not gonna be able to watch tomorrow's stream, but I'll catch up on Thursday. And then all of a sudden you come back and Becky's there like nothing ever happened. I could see why somebody would go into the comments and be like, oh man, this shit is fake as hell. Like you fired Becky, now she's back all of a sudden.
I think it just comes down to the bottom line of everything's changing and everything has its own like kind of line that it follows, and it's just what works and what fits.
The way Xylee laid it out to me was that like, well, Keem sent all this equipment to these people. Do you really think he's going to cut them loose and take a loss on all that equipment, or do you think he's going to try to make some money back on that equipment? And I think that makes sense too.
Yeah, and I agree with that, because that could be one of the main reasons, is that he maybe wants to keep her around but doesn't want to lose the opportunity that he could have because he invested so much.
Yeah, I guess that would just make me wonder then, why do it in the first place? Does he ever encourage you guys to like dislike one another?
No, but the hatred that I felt for Becky was 100% real.
That doesn't seem hard to dislike Becky though. She just seems like she has that irking, I don't know how you even describe it. And I don't think Becky does it on purpose. I think that she's just got that personality that comes off like Hallmark and fake bullshit.
Yeah, I just don't screw with her anymore.
The stuff with Grace. I know you popped into my stream last night, which again, thank you. The Grace stuff with her dad. After some of the stuff I watched last night, I'm almost like 100% behind the idea that Grace is having an ancestral relationship with her father. Because,
yeah.
And my theory behind this is that I love my parents to death, right? I love my parents about as much as a normal person would love their parents, mainly my mother. In order to be willing to go to jail for your parents, I feel like the typical love between a parent and a child is not the same as the love that we're seeing between Grace and her father, because that's the type of love that you would go to jail for someone that you're romantically involved with because you're desperate to see them. You know what I mean?
Well, and the way I look at it is people who say it's not real. It's like, how do you sleep in an RV with them every single night and nothing happens?
And why do you
Like,
buy the RV?
Yeah, and there was a video that was talked about on LolCowlive last night that was resurfaced where at first it was just a picture, so we didn't know if it was real or not, and it was Grace like turning over and kissing her dad.
It's one thing to be a lolcow and just kind of be someone to laugh at, but this is getting into territory that's like scary.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable.
And as Keem being a father, as a father myself, I get it. Grace keeps saying, you're trying to make me out to be a lolcow. Don't you want me to be a lolcow? I'm sure Keem is in some ways like, I'm a dad though, too. And what I think is happening between your father and you is just something I could never imagine myself doing. Therefore, I see what the type of pain it could cause if I allow you to be on the show. It's not like he's all of a sudden making an exception for Grace and her dad as not being lolcows. I think it's the fact that he himself is a father and gets what that dynamic is and just how disgusting Ben is for taking advantage of that dynamic.
Yeah, I commend him because he tried very hard to make it work, and he was very adamant on why and how disgusting it is, because realistically he could sit there and make content out of that, but it's not something that you would even want to, and he doesn't even want to touch it, right?
That's a bridge too far for Keem. I think we've seen where his limit is.
Yeah.
But again, as a father, I could totally understand why Keem is not like, no, this is not marketable.
I mean, I'm not a parent because I'm only 21, but just from an outsider, not even in a parental point of view, like, it's just disgusting. I could never imagine being that. Yeah, I just couldn't fathom it.
I feel like Grace should be old enough now to know to just get away from him, but I guess that dude's got his claws in deep into her.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy, and it just goes to show the type of person that he is, the way that he blew this all up.
When Keem tells you, like, that's it, you're fired, Linx, in your mind, when you hear that for the first time, or if, like, a friend texts you, goes, Keem just fired you on air, are you really feeling like you're fired? Or you're just like, oh, it's just Keem being Keem, I'll try to get my job back?
I think it depends on the moment. Sometimes I think it's funny and joshing around, but it can be hard to tell. I don't think when he fired me, I don't think he knew like the full story. But as for like the Grace incident, I think he was set on it. He was pretty upset about it. He was clear-minded and he knew what he wanted.
The Grace firing is probably the one, and Xylee said this too, like, we felt like it was going to be the original four except for maybe Grace, because Xylee was much more up to date with that story than I was. I learned about it last night. I can understand the Keem. If Keem could get Grace away from her dad, she'd be perfect for the show. If Grace is not going to get away from her dad, she definitely is going to hurt the show, because I don't think that while people online enjoy trolliness and craziness and debauchery, I don't think that people are going to embrace that type of debauchery. That's too much close to home type of debauchery. But
yeah, you're right.
What has led you to want to not be a queen?
The simplest answer is I can't give 100%. Like 100% is owed. And like I take care of my grandfather and I have my own business. So I just felt like it was really impossible for me to have all my eggs in one basket when I have so much going on right now. And my grandfather's been going through some medical issues. So I'm not always available 24/7. That being said though, Keem did like go out of his way to find a specific job that I could do to make sure one, I still am in the community and still employed. So it's not all negative, and I'm probably still going to appear on the shows. I just won't be a main host and I won't be on all the time.
Yeah, and I think that's part of why Tina is so good at the job, is because she's probably retired or on disability. She literally has nothing else to do but hang around until the show goes live. As where, you know, younger people like you, unfortunately, like Grace, you guys are young and you're living your life. I'm in my 30s now, but I remember 21. Life moves fast. You're out. This is where you're exploring life more than ever. You know, you can't be tied to it on call 24/7 job.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, it's also kind of a little bit different because yes, I'm younger, but I do always spend my time at home because I work from home with my business and with my grandfather. But yeah, I definitely see what you're saying.
Yeah, because that was one of the things that I remember Grace screaming at Keem about. Kayfabe. That's what Xylee referred to it as. It's a wrestling term. And I think it does sum up this pretty well, that even though the show might fire Becky one night and the next night she's back, the kayfabe is that that's the storyline. Well, I'm sure you could see the power of Keemstar, though. You come in the chat while I'm talking last night and everybody flips out and they all know who you are now. And, that's the power of being involved with Keemstar. Have you noticed that any other aspects of your life?
I've noticed it's really crazy, the fan base, and it's more positive than negative, which is genuinely shocking to me. And I've noticed that people genuinely seem to want to be interested in what the people that he platforms are doing on the side. I will say one thing about Keem that is extremely misunderstood is he has a very blank, this is how you see me, but behind the scenes, he genuinely is like a really good person, and he really tries to make sure that you can work with him, and he really tries his hardest to make sure you have everything that you need to succeed. When he employed me, like, he made sure I had everything, and I honestly have so much respect that he took the time to make sure and to go through everything I would need for a setup and all that with me. Like, it was a really cool and interesting thing to see, because I've never really seen that side of him before.
Yeah, most people don't get to see that side unless you're directly involved with them. But Xylie's always said the same thing. Like, I always tell her she's way better friends with Keem than she claims to be. But I think that I should probably take a page out of his book, because I personally think that I'm a fairly nice fella. I also know that I'm never going to get anywhere on YouTube being a nice guy.
I also commend him because a lot of people don't realize how much he really does have going on. Like, with all of the things that he has going on in his life, I don't know how he has time for everything. And I think that's really admirable as well. And I try my best to take his work ethic, because I try and be a really hard worker. Like, I'm always working. Just because, one, I enjoy it when it's my business and when it's like working in this community, but two, like, it just proves my dedication and it helps me feel self-fulfilled. So I really enjoy getting to do it, and I really enjoy seeing and following in his footsteps.
Okay, aside from like maybe his earlier days on YouTube when he was like really scandalous and he would, drop the gamer words and stuff, it definitely seems like he's 10 times more business minded now. He seems like the type of guy that nothing will stop him from achieving what he wants. I mean, you can see just in the background of like how nice of his place is. And I think that he thinks that just being involved with people will teach them, hey, look, follow my lead and I won't lead you wrong, because I've already figured out how to reach the success part. And I think that he gets frustrated when people have this opportunity to learn from him and to see what work ethic it takes to get successful on YouTube, just for them to not listen to anything he says and then do their own thing, thinking they know more than anybody else. And I think that definitely shows. What's the best advice Keem has ever given you?
Honestly, point blank, to trust him. To just, I find every time I question it, it ends up being fine. And if I would have just never questioned it, I just would have never been a headache, kind of thing. I've noticed since he's hired me as he said himself, like a personal assistant, I've noticed that I've put myself in his shoes and I tried to think like he does. Instead of asking him how he wants it, I tell the person how I want it, thinking like him, and it hasn't steered me wrong since. So I think just the trust him, and also he once said to me, like, just be confident and show that you want to do it, show that you have dedication, show me why you are wanted to be here. So just proving yourself and such. Honestly, an incredible experience, like learning the way he thinks, learning how he's become so successful.
Freudian slip. I mean, he's a good looking guy. We'll give him that. He's a good looking fellow.
I have a speech impediment, so sometimes I like fully mess up words. Today is not an English day for me.
Do you think that he's gonna find girls that were as good as the original 4?
I think the biggest problem with that is that people are not willing to give up what they were first introduced to because they already had a taste of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people are just being stubborn. And I mean, like, I have no idea who he's gonna pick, but I do see a few people that I really think would work in the new cast. Maybe he'll go back to people from the old cast. Like, I have no idea what his plan is, but I'm definitely excited to see how it works.
I think you're right. And I think this is like, it's kind of like that, whatever version of a story you hear first is always the version that most people end up just assuming is true because that's what they heard
Right.
first. And I think that that applies to this here as well. No matter who they bring in, nobody's ever going to be as great as the first four.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And the first four already have a story and they already have a timeline. So I think people are latching on to that. That being said, if people could kind of let go a little bit, I still fully believe it's going to be an amazing show. And I mean, I'm working behind the scenes now, so I'm going to do my best to make it an amazing show.
Yeah, I will. I have no doubt that you seem like you have a interesting relationship with Keemstar in that you want to see him successful just from the kindness that he's shown you and taking chances on you. Yeah, trying to make logic out of what Keem does is pretty impossible.
And I mean, that's kind of the fun of it too, is like guessing what's going to come up next.
Yep.
You'll always be on your toes.
Which I guess in a way is its own value. I appreciate you, Linx, for coming on and talking to me. Don't be a stranger. If you ever want to come on in the future, you're more than welcome to. I know I'm growing, but I'd love to talk with Keem at some point too. So if you ever talk to him, this guy EG, I know he's a really nice guy. He said he'd love to talk to you and interview you. So just about his creative process,
absolutely.
that'd be cool. Because I've had
absolutely.
I definitely would love to interview him about his creative process and shit more than anything else.
I can definitely ask him, and I'm really appreciative of you giving me a voice and giving me a chance to kind of talk a little bit more about all the things going on. And I appreciate that you let me speak. I know sometimes I notice on interviews they don't really let people speak, but I appreciate you letting me get my point across.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. I'm interviewing you because I want to know about you. I don't want to know about myself. This isn't about me. Like, nobody's tuning in to see me. They're gonna tune in because I got your perspective from somebody who was actually there.